All right, folks, it was Curtis Sliwa's night. That's the subject of the riff. As far as I'm concerned, just this one Indian, Curtis Sliwa won last night's mayoral debate with ease. He had the kind of great ideas on lower taxes, school choice, more cops, backing Jewish people in the state of Israel, attracting new business to the city instead of losing them, deregulating to build affordable housing, and he had the kind of high energy personally that we want and need in a New York City chief executive. Andrew Cuomo, on the other hand, is a junior Joe Biden. He had no energy. He did pound Mamdani on Hamas, on Israel and anti-Semitism, but he had no energy. Mamdani, his usual left-wing, socialist, smug self. He thinks because he went to an expensive left-wing college and comes from Uganda that somehow he's superior to the people of the city of New York. Guess what? He is not. Now, here's Curtis Sliwa. Common sense answer to business and taxes. Take a listen.
Well, Zohran, boy, your fantasies are never going to come about in terms of funding everything you want that's going to be free. It's a fantasy. Let's deal with the reality. You got to cut taxes for people to stay here.
Thank you.
Corporations are not going to stay here. They're being lured south.
Those people should have stopped trying to interrupt him. He had some great ideas. Of course, you have to cut taxes. Now, of course, Mamdani wants to jack up taxes on successful earners and businesses. Pure insanity. All right, here's a quiz from Mamdani. What's the combined state and local tax rate in New York City? Answer, 14.8%. Now, what's the combined tax rate in Miami, Florida, with its new stock exchange? Answer, 0. Now, what's the combined tax rate in Dallas, Texas, with its new stock exchange? Answer, 0. Even the Democratic Socialist Party of America should know the difference between 14.8 and 0, but not Mamdani, because he's not very smart, although he's a committed left-wing ideologue. Mamdani would not join Cuomo or Sliwa in putting more cops on the street, which is, of course, the key to public safety and law and order. And only Curtis Sliwa clearly explained why these domestic violence calls from around the city must bring the cops in first for safety reasons, and then perhaps some kind of social counseling. But Mamdani's nutty idea of social workers first is going to be rejected by anybody watching that debate. On Jewish policies, no matter what Mamdani says, his history of anti-Semitism, favoring Hamas, from the river to the sea, all that speaks to his dislike of Jewish people and the Israeli state. He can deny it up and down for the next 20 years. He can say that and other nutty things he tweeted out a few years ago don't represent his campaign today. But he is lying through his phony, toothy smile. The election, folks, November 4th. I'm not smart enough to know the winner. What I do know is that Curtis Sliwa did himself a lot of good last night. Andrew Cuomo didn't help himself. And Socialist Mamdani, who has never held a real job before this extremist, far-out socialist policies, he showed anybody who watched that he is not the man to run New York City at a time when this city needs a prosperous golden age. And that's Riff.